Hey guys, this is probably my most requested video and question I always get. So I'm finally doing a sit down video because I just haven't had time to do a whole video because this is kind of a long story, and I think I just didn't really know what to say, and I think I was scared to share my story because I didn't want to spread misinformation or give people wrong expectations of what it's like to go into the paleo field, just because my story is so different than a lot of people that I've met. But I get this question a lot, and I've been more open about not having a degree, and it has sparked a lot of questions. So yeah, I thought I would do a sit down video since I actually have time today. My museum, the Whiteside Museum of Natural History, we're in the middle of a museum expansion right now. So we've been building an exhibit since I guess September of this year, and we won't be done until May of next year. So I am just all over the place. So that's why I haven't been filming a lot of videos and posting photos on Instagram, because I can't really share much yet. But yeah, enough of that. So I was homeschooled most of high school. I went to public high school my freshman year, most of my freshman year. I moved a lot during high school, so I just wanted to be homeschooled because it's really hard for me to get adjusted in places, especially as a teenager. So I chose to just be homeschooled because I have ADHD too, so it's really hard for me to focus, especially if I don't have interest in something. It's really hard for me to focus. I was one of those kids that needed one-on-one teaching. So I was just homeschooled during high school, and I ended up getting my GED. So when I was 18, we moved to Seymour in 2015. I have my notepad so I don't forget anything. In 2015, I think my family just wanted to get out of the Dallas area, which is where I'm from. And I was like, okay, well, I did not know what I wanted to do. I was interested in so many things. I was interested in paleontology, of course, but I didn't really know how to get into a career like that. I've always been an artist. I thought about being an art teacher at one point, a wildlife photographer. I've always been interested in photography, cinematography, marine biology. I just had so many interests, and I just did not know how to pursue any of those, especially having a GED, not being able to have funding to go to college. I didn't even know how to navigate that at all. So I was like, okay, I'll move with you on to Seymour. Population's I think back then was maybe 2,000, 2,300. So that was really a culture shock. Someone from the Dallas area moving to Seymour. After living here for about 6 months or so, I found the Whiteside, and the Whiteside, I guess, was probably 2 years old at that point, and I asked if I could start volunteering, and I initially started volunteering in the prep lab and the live animal room because I had a bearded dragon and snakes and stuff, so I did have experience taking care of reptiles, and the reptile curator needed help, so I would kind of go back and forth helping with the live animals and then working in the prep lab and just learning how to prep. I started working a grocery store job, and I worked that full time, and when I wasn't there, I was volunteering at the museum, so I was just basically never home. And I was volunteering at the museum for about 9 months. So I started in June of 2016, and the following late spring, they hired me on part-time for the summer. And that job was mostly just as a docent, going around giving school tours. And during those 9 months, I was spending every time possible at the museum. I'm a sponge. I just soak in so much information, especially when I am really interested in something. I dive headfirst, full in. And so I was being trained in just the Permian in general. So I had to learn about all the different animals, and I was going and prepping, and then I was also going in the fields. So I had a lot of experience in all these different like parts of the museum. So eventually I started giving school tours in the spring, and then the board agreed to hire me on part-time in the summer. So I was working part-time at the museum and then full-time at the store. So I was working like 60-hour weeks. And then on top of that, I was still volunteering additional hours at the museum, especially when we were doing exhibit openings. We really didn't have much volunteers that would help with exhibits design and stuff. And I'm a very artistic person and very good at designing exhibits and doing art. So, and there was really no one else in the volunteer field that would help with that. Basically, all of our volunteers just kind of help with tours or they do prep lab stuff. So Chris really needed help. And at that point, our current assistant director left and found a different job. So it was really just Chris and I kind of doing everything. So at this point, I was full-time at the grocery store. I was a grocery stalker. So I was like in charge of like unloading the trucks and whatnot. And then I would like work till 4 o'clock at the store, and then I would volunteer at the museum from like 4 to like 10, helping building exhibits, prepping, whatever. And then eventually the museum started giving me more hours. So then I started working less at the store. So then I was only working like 3 days a week at the store and working more at the museum. So I was just like overloaded, like working all the time and still volunteering. I think I was just so excited that I was like a part of something. Like I never really felt like I had a community with like my childhood background and stuff. Like I never felt like I had that. And I was just so accepted. And the second I joined the museum, and I was just taking advantage of every minute I could learn about something. So at this point, it's 2018. I'm working like part-time at the store, part-time at the museum. And then in 2019, the museum offered me a full-time position at the museum as assistant director, because our director had been gone for like a year, and they really needed someone else besides Chris at the museum that could be at the museum at all times, to like help him and stuff. And essentially the assistant director job wouldn't be any much different than what I'm already doing, except I would be doing more. Hey, sorry, my camera stopped recording because it died. So in 2019, I got promoted to assistant director, and I started. The only really different thing about my job was that I now am doing marketing. So I now do all of the marketing for the museum, help with event planning, all that kind of stuff, do text panels. That's definitely one of my like main strong suits. So yeah, now I'm assistant director. I put my 2 weeks in at the grocery store, and then I go to GSA, my very first conference. It was in Phoenix, Arizona, and that whole trip was just really life-changing for me, because back then there wasn't a lot of people in paleo like on social media. The really only other person that I knew of was Miria. She's like now my best friend. And it was really cool being able to meet people my age in paleo, and it really like opened this door for me like in my head and like really solidified that this is what I want to do. So yeah, and then 5 years after that, I'm still here. I'm still assistant director. I've been at the museum for 8 years now, and I definitely see myself being at the Whiteside as long as I can, forever. And I love paleo, and I'm really glad for all the opportunities that this job has given me. And a lot of people just can't understand like how much I know or like how fast I grew into my job. But people don't understand that like I'm older than I look. I'm 26 years old. I've been here for 8 years, so that's like a long time to like learn a subject. And I mean, if I look at it this way, if I did go to school, I would already have my master's and like starting my PhD by now, which is kind of weird to think about. But yeah, I definitely have had the privilege to like learn about the Permian from the most prominent people in the world on the Permian, which is Dr. Bacher and Chris Bliss, our museum director. So I'm very fortunate that they have taught me everything that I know, and I'm definitely going to be able to learn more, and I've been able to publish, and I'm just really excited to see like where this career takes me in the future. And now we're starting on our museum expansion, and Chris and I have been talking about this since 2019, and we tried to do it a couple times during COVID, but there just wasn't enough funding. So it will be unveiled in June 2025, and definitely follow the Whiteside Museums, like Instagram, Facebook, website, all the things. I'll be posting more about that like in a month or so. Thanks for watching. If y'all have any more questions that I didn't answer in this video, feel free to comment. Oh my god, I'm watching them and filming a YouTube video. Oh my god.